In this video, you'll learn about following rules for writing functions, entering functions with the Quick Analysis tool, and using the Insert Function dialog box. If you collect a lot of data, such as travel expenses for sales trips, it can be difficult to make sense of it all. Even if you enter the data into a worksheet, how do you analyze your average travel expenses per trip, for example? Or identify which transportation and lodging costs are the highest? To determine an average expense, you could use a long formula like this one, which calculates the average transportation cost. But long formulas are prone to error. Instead, you can use a function, such as the average function, to make the same calculation. Excel organizes its hundreds of functions into categories. Some of the most popular include date and time functions, which analyze or create date and time values, and time intervals. For example, the today function inserts today's date. Financial functions analyze information for business and finance. PMT is a financial function that you use to calculate monthly loan payments. Logical functions return logical or true-false values. If is a logical function that makes calculations based on the conditions you specify, such as displaying text indicating that a salesperson earns a bonus if their commission is more than $20,000. Math and trig functions perform math and trigonometry calculations. For example, you use the sum function to calculate totals. Statistical functions provide statistical analyses of data. For example, the max function calculates the maximum value in a collection of numbers. Every function must use the correct syntax, which is a set of rules that specifies how a function should be written. For example, the syntax of the average function starts with the name of the function and then lists the numbers to average in parentheses. Brackets mean numbers after the first one are optional. To remind you of the correct way to use a function, Excel displays the syntax as you enter the function. This average function calculates the average of 1, 2, 5, and 12, which is 5. Instead of values, you can use cell references and average the values they contain. Cells A1 through A4 contain the values 1, 2, 5, and 12, so the average function returns the value of 5, as it did before. You can include functions as part of larger formulas. For example, this formula calculates the average of the values in the range A1 to A10, and then multiplies the result by 2. You can also place a function inside another function, which creates a nested function. In this formula, average is a nested function. The formula first calculates the average of the values in cells A1 to A10 and then rounds the result to 2 decimal places. In a nested function, the number of opening parentheses must match the number of closing parentheses. Excel displays each level of nested parentheses in different colors. If the number of opening and closing parentheses doesn't match, as in this formula, Excel does not accept the formula and explains why. One way to enter a function is with the Quick Analysis tool. The Quick Analysis button appears when you select a range. Click the Quick Analysis button and then click the Totals category to display Quick Analysis tools for calculating totals. Each tool uses a function to calculate results. For example, the 2 Sum buttons use the Sum function, one for a row of values and the other for a column. Each button shows where the Quick Analysis tool will display the result. To calculate the total spent on lodging in this worksheet, select the expenses in column F, and then click this Sum button to insert a formula containing the sum function at the bottom of column F. To calculate the total travel expenses per day, for example, click this Sum button to insert a formula with the sum function on the right side of each row. The Quick Analysis tool inserts a function directly below or to the right of a selection. To enter a formula using the average function in cell F28, for example, you need to use a different method of entering a function, such as typing it directly in the cell. Another way to add a function to a formula is to use the Function Library group on the Formulas tab. You select a function category in the Function Library group, such as Math and Trig. Select a function, such as Sum, and then enter or select the range you want to sum, such as E12 to E26. Suppose you want to find the middle value in a range of numbers and don't know which function to use. Click the Insert Function button on the Formulas tab or next to the formula bar to open the Insert Function dialog box. You use this dialog box to search for a function by name or description. For example, in the Search for a Function box, type middle value and then click the Go button. Click a function, such as median, in the search results to display a description. The description for median indicates that the function provides the median or the number in the middle of a set of numbers. When you click the OK button to select the median function, the Function Arguments dialog box opens, listing required arguments in bold and optional arguments in regular type. To select the range for the required argument, click the Collapse dialog box button for number 1. The dialog box shrinks so you can see more of the worksheet. Select the range of numbers for which you want to calculate the median, and then click the Expand dialog box button to redisplay the entire Function Arguments dialog box, which now shows the cell values in the selected range for the number 1 argument, and previews the value that the function returns and the result of the formula, which are often the same. The dialog box also describes the selected argument and the function to remind you about its purpose and syntax. When you click the OK button, Excel inserts a formula with the median function in the active cell. The median amount spent on lodging is $190, while the average is $195.53, which is somewhat different. Averages are influenced by extremely low or high values, while medians are not. In this case, the median or middle value more accurately reflects a typical daily travel expense for lodging. Keep in mind that functions provide shortcuts for performing common or complex calculations in a workbook, and must use the correct syntax. Use the Totals category in the Quick Analysis tool to insert formulas containing functions that summarize data. Use the Insert Function dialog box when you want help finding the right function to use. Use the Function Arguments dialog box when you know a function name and want guidance when entering arguments.